Most people barely noticed Samir. He was the quiet, night shift security guard at Northgate Research Facility, a place buzzing with brilliant scientists, sharp analysts, and high-profile engineers. Every single night, he walked the same halls, checked the same doors, and watched the same screens. To the employees, he was practically invisible, just part of the background. Some even mocked him, calling him just a guard, completely clueless about the groundbreaking work happening behind those steel-reinforced walls. But Samir wasn't who they thought he was. He once lived a different life as a top systems engineer for a private defense contractor overseas. He built sophisticated access software, complex encryption layers, and internal failsafes. But after a tragedy struck his team, he walked away from the high-pressure world. He took the quietest job he could find, guarding a high-tech facility that, ironically, used a system he had helped design years ago. He never told a soul. One night, during a shift change, a group of junior analysts stood by the lobby scanner, laughing loudly, their voices echoing off the marble walls. "Careful," one of them joked, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Don't let the security guy touch anything, he might break the system," another chimed in. "Yeah, man, he looks like he still doesn't know how to send an email." They all burst into laughter. Samir didn't react. He just scanned their badges and let them pass. He'd learned a long time ago that the loudest people are usually the least dangerous. But that night was about to test everything he knew. At 2:17 a.m., the monitors suddenly flashed red. An alert blared. Unauthorized access attempt. Level 4 lab. A piercing alarm shattered the silence. The doors to the upper floors slammed shut, sealing off the wings automatically. Samir straightened up, his pulse completely steady. He calmly keyed in his authorization code. Access denied. That had never happened before. He tried overriding from the main console. System lockdown initiated. Samir knew instantly this wasn't just a glitch. Someone with deep-level clearance was trying to breach the most classified lab in the facility. And they were using a backdoor command, he recognized. Only 3 engineers in the world knew that backdoor existed, and Samir was one of them. He grabbed his radio. "Control, this is Samir. I need confirmation of status on level 4. Nothing but static." The facility's communications were jammed. He pulled up a secondary console and ran a trace. The intrusion wasn't coming from inside the lab, it was a remote hijack routed through a stolen internal login. Whoever this was, they were no amateur. Within minutes, a swarm of panicked employees arrived at the lobby, pounding on the locked doors. Among them was Maya, the senior operations manager. "Samir! What's going on? The whole building's locked," she yelled. "The system was breached," he said calmly. Maya frowned, confused. "How do you know?" "I used to work on these systems," he replied. "Whoever is behind this triggered a recursive lockdown. If they get through that last firewall, they'll access the classified prototype in Lab 4. A tense silence fell over the group. One of the very analysts who had mocked him earlier scoffed. "And how would you know anything about this?" But their smirks faded when Samir pulled up a complex diagnostic on the emergency console. "We need IT!" Maya shouted. "No," Samir said, his voice firm. "IT can't fix this. They'll only lock us out completely." Maya stared at him, desperate. "Then who can?" He looked her straight in the eyes. "I can." Samir approached the central console, taking a deep breath. His hands flew across the keyboard, opening hidden menus, bypassing the standard user interface, and jumping straight to root-level command lines. The analysts behind him whispered in disbelief. "How is he doing that? That's not standard access. That command, that's a kernel override." The system fought back. The hacker on the other end was pushing countercommands. The screen flickered. Intrusion breach, 83%. They were dangerously close. Samir opened the deep root access shell, a part of the system he had personally written all those years ago. He typed a manual override string. Protocol Sigma EX9. Local authorities supersede. The building lights flickered. A new message appeared. Authorization verified, override accepted. But he wasn't done. He rerouted the firewall, isolated the intrusion node, reverse traced the IP address, and then slammed the door shut with a lockdown command only the original system engineers could execute. The system went silent. The alarm stopped. On screen, a new message glowed. Intrusion neutralized. Facility secure. The room was filled with stunned silence. Maya stepped forward, her voice full of awe. "Samir, how did you know all that?" He hesitated, then finally said, "Because before I became a security guard, I helped design this system." The entire group stared at him, as if seeing him for the very first time. The analyst who had mocked him swallowed hard. "Sir, I'm so sorry." "We had no idea." Samir simply waved it off. Respect isn't about knowing someone's resume. It's about treating everyone like they matter. The room fell quiet again. Maya nodded slowly. "From today, things will be different around here. And Samir, yes? You're not guarding this building anymore. You're joining our cybersecurity division effective immediately." For the first time in a very long while, Samir smiled. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.